The dawn on Zyphera 9 was never truly quiet. Even on calm mornings, the air carried a faint hum from the glowing forests that surrounded the human colony. The leaves vibrated with trapped energy, and the ground itself sometimes pulsed with a heartbeat-like rhythm. Most settlers had grown used to it, but Dr. Maren Holt never fully settled. She was a xenotechnologist, trained to pay attention to any detail that felt out of place. That morning, she woke before her alarm. A strange vibration passed through her research module, as if something deep under the earth had shifted. Her walls rattled lightly, and the lights flickered. Maren sat up quickly, pushing a hand through her short, dark hair. Not again, she muttered to herself. She had felt small tremors before, but this one felt different, more focused, more deliberate, almost like a signal. She jumped out of bed and walked to the nearest console. Her screens lit up with readings from the colony's surrounding sensors. Strange spikes appeared across the geological map of the region. The ground under her module showed unstable points, shifting faster than anything seen in the past months. Maren's heart tightened. Something was wrong. She quickly threw on her exploration suit, grabbed her datapad, and stepped outside. The morning air felt cool, carrying the scent of glowing pollen drifting across the valley. Normally, she would enjoy the quiet beauty, but not today. A strange wind blew in uneven bursts, as if the atmosphere itself was confused. She glanced back at her module. A thin crack ran along its foundation, stretching further each second. No. She needed help. The nearest person was her neighbor, Astra Wynn, an atmospheric scientist who lived in a small, temporary shelter up the hill. Astra was quiet, polite, and usually kept to herself. But she was brilliant. If anyone could help her understand what was happening, it was Astra. Maren sprinted uphill, her boots sinking into soft, glowing moss. Behind her, she heard another tremor, louder and closer. She didn't look back. She didn't want to see what her mind feared. By the time she reached Astra's shelter, the glowing spores in the air had become so thick they looked like snow. Maren knocked hard on the metal door. "Astra, open up!" Another tremor shook the ground. Maren grabbed the doorframe to steady herself. "Please, it's urgent." For a moment, there was no reply. Then she heard footsteps inside, a bit slow, and probably half asleep. The door slid open, and Astra stood there blinking, clearly confused and still waking up. She wore a long gray bathrobe, her hair messy from sleep, and she clutched a handheld atmospheric scanner. Her calm expression did not match the chaos around them. "Maren?" she said softly. "Why are you—" But she stopped mid-sentence. She looked past Maren, toward the valley below. Her eyes widened not in fear, but in understanding. Then she said a sentence Maren would remember for the rest of her life. "You won't want to go back to your place." Before Maren could ask what she meant, the ground behind her cracked with a loud snap. She turned just in time to see the hillside split open. Her research module, her work, her equipment, and half a year of studies lurched forward, tilted, and slid downward as the earth under it collapsed. A massive sinkhole opened like a hungry mouth. Her module dropped inside and disappeared into darkness. Maren stumbled back, shock freezing her body for several seconds. Everything she had built here was gone. But instead of just soil and rock in the sinkhole, something unexpected appeared. The hole glowed with a faint bluish light, brightening as dust settled. A structure smooth, metallic, and clearly not human shone from deep underground. Astra had stepped outside, the bathrobe tied tight around her. She looked far calmer than Maren felt. Her voice remained steady. "I was afraid this would happen." Maren spun to face her. "You knew? How could you possibly know something like this?" Astra lifted her atmospheric scanner. The small screen showed chaotic lines moving in patterns Maren didn't recognize. "I didn't know exactly," Astra said quietly, "but the air has been changing, forming patterns that looked like warning signals. I didn't understand all of it, but I felt something was building beneath us. Another tremor shook the hill, weaker this time. The sinkhole stopped expanding, as if satisfied with what it had taken. Marin walked toward the edge carefully. The light coming from below pulsed slowly, almost like breathing. The alien structure looked ancient, but functional. Its surface reflected the spores in the air, making it glow brighter than the morning sun. Astra stepped beside her. That wasn't just a geological collapse. No, Marin whispered. For a long moment, both women stood in silence. Astra wrapped her bathrobe tighter around herself. We should call the colony leadership. Screams. Tenel Rabber. Marin shook her head. Not yet. They'll evacuate the area immediately and seal off everything. We need to understand what this is first. Look at it, it's active. It might even be connected to the sensor spikes I saw. Astra hesitated. She was cautious by nature, and she disliked breaking protocol. But she could see the determination in Marin's eyes. Fine, she said softly. But we go together. They climbed down the slope carefully. Loose soil shifted under their feet, and glowing roots stuck out from the broken earth. The blue light grew brighter as they approached the bottom. The closer they got, the more they could feel faint warmth against their skin. The structure's surface was made of metal that looked almost liquid. Strange symbols pulsed gently across it, written in a language neither had seen before. Marin reached out but stopped an inch away. The warmth felt like it was responding to her presence. Astra studied the symbols with her scanner. These patterns match the atmospheric shifts I recorded last night, almost exactly. So the planet's air was warning us, Marin said. Or the structure was, Astra replied. A soft vibration echoed through the air. The smooth metallic surface rippled like water. A panel slid open, revealing a dark hallway leading inside. Astra stepped back in fear. Marin stepped forward in wonder. Wait, Astra said, grabbing her arm. We don't know if it's safe. Marin nodded. I know. But whatever this is, it reacted to us. It wants us to come in. Astra looked at her. Why would it want that? Marin swallowed. I don't know. But we won't find answers standing out here. Astra was quiet for several seconds. She looked back at her small shelter, then toward the colony in the distance. If they went inside, they might discover something that would change everything humans thought about this planet. If they turned back, someone else might take credit, or worse, misunderstand the technology and destroy it. Finally, Astra took a deep breath. Fine. But I need proper clothes first. Marin allowed herself a small smile. Fair enough. After a quick trip to Astra's shelter, the two returned this time, both wearing light exploration gear. The morning sun climbed higher, but the sinkhole remained lit by the alien structure's soft glow. Just before stepping inside, Astra paused. Marin, when I opened the door earlier, I didn't think the collapse would be that big. I only meant you might be safer away from your module. I didn't expect all of this. Marin nodded. You saved my life. That's enough. Astra lowered her eyes, embarrassed but grateful. Together, they stepped into the alien hallway. The walls lit up as they passed, glowing in soft blues and greens. The air was strangely clean, almost sterile, and quiet, except for a faint hum deeper inside. They walked slowly, their footsteps echoing. Strange shapes, carved into the walls, pulsed like living veins. Marin recorded everything on her data pad. This place, it feels alive, Astra said softly. Maybe it is. At the end of the hallway, a circular chamber opened. In the center floated a crystalline sphere, spinning slowly. Light flickered inside it, like trapped stars. As the two women approached, the sphere brightened. Then a voice calm, resonant, and echoing filled the chamber. Heirs of the second dawn, you have arrived. Astra froze. Marin took one step closer. The sphere lowered itself, hovering at chest height. This world chooses those who can listen, the voice said. And you have listened. Marin's breath caught in her throat. The structure wasn't just ancient. It was waiting, and it had chosen them. The voice from the crystalline sphere echoed in the chamber, leaving Marin and Astra standing frozen. Neither of them had ever experienced anything like it. The sound was neither human nor mechanical. It was clear and calm, yet filled with a strange authority. Marin swallowed hard. Heirs of the second dawn. What does that mean? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The sphere pulsed gently, and the light inside it grew brighter. A soft hum filled the chamber. Then the voice spoke again. Slower this time. Long before your kind arrived, others came to Zyphera 9. They shaped the land, they tested its life, and then they vanished. Only those who understand, only those who observe, can awaken the power beneath the crust. You have observed. You have understood. You are chosen. Astra's eyes widened. She stepped closer to Marin. The planet's cycles are dangerous. You face a destabilization that could destroy the surface. Only those who can combine insight and action can restore balance. Your species may succeed where others failed. Marin took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. You mean humans can stop this? But I don't understand. How? What do we even have to work with? The sphere rotated slowly, and symbols on its surface shifted and reorganized themselves. Lines of light extended from the sphere, connecting with grooves carved into the chamber walls. The hum deepened, vibrating through the floor and walls, yet it was not painful. It felt alive, almost communicative. Astra leaned close to her scanner. The symbols? They're like nothing I've seen before. But the patterns they match, the atmospheric signals I recorded before the collapse. It's as if the structure is connected to the planet's air and ground, some kind of planetary interface. Marin's mind raced. So, it's alive? Or at least semi-sentient? Maybe it's a tool, or a machine, that can respond to human input. The sphere brightened again, and a thin beam of light extended from it, scanning both women. They felt a strange sensation, like the hum was brushing against their thoughts. Images appeared in their minds, swirling clouds, energy lines running under the ground, and strange, glowing structures beneath the planet's surface. Astra gasped. It's showing us the planet's energy patterns and its weak points. Look, these lines, they match the tremors we felt. The sinkhole. It wasn't random. The planet is moving in cycles, and this structure responds to it. Marin looked closely at the patterns in her mind. If we can understand these cycles, maybe we can predict the next collapse, or even stop it before it becomes dangerous. Observation alone is not enough, the voice intoned. Action must follow. Only those who act together can maintain balance. The words hung in the air like a challenge. Marin glanced at Astra. We're going to have to work together. We have no choice. This thing, it's telling us that humans are capable of doing something no other species could. Astra nodded slowly, though her eyes betrayed both fear and awe. All right, but we need a plan. First, we need to map the energy lines. And then, maybe we can figure out how to stabilize them. The sphere rotated again, extending a soft blue light toward the far wall of the chamber. Symbols carved into the rock shifted under the beam, creating a map. It was unlike anything they had ever seen, an energy map of the entire planet, pulsing with life. Marin stepped closer, her hands tracing the glowing lines. This is incredible. Look at this. It's like the planet itself is a circuit board. And these are the hotspots. If one of these fails, the surface collapses. Astra scanned the area with her handheld device. And it's connected to the atmosphere, the air currents, The pressure points, the humidity, everything interacts with these energy lines. That's why I felt the patterns in the first place. They were warning us. Marin's mind raced. So we're not just observing the planet, we're interacting with it. Humans can read the signals and guide them. Correct, the voice said. Your creativity, your insight, your understanding of patterns, these are what will maintain balance. Others, before you, could not combine these abilities. You can. Astra frowned. But how do we combine it? We're just two humans. The energy lines are huge. The planet is huge. We can't do this alone. The sphere pulsed. And then a soft, almost imperceptible wave of energy brushed against them. Both women felt their thoughts align strangely. Ideas and solutions seemed to flow between them. Marin realized something. It's giving us a way to coordinate. I can sense your thoughts, the best solutions, and you can sense mine. Together, we might actually be able to do this. Astra's eyes widened. It's teaching us how to think as one. Not physically, but mentally. That's incredible. Proceed, the voice intoned. The cycles are growing. Time is limited. Act together, or the balance will collapse. Marin looked down at the glowing map of the planet. She could see the points of instability growing larger, spreading faster. We have to start immediately. We need to stabilize these lines before the next collapse. And we'll need equipment. Astra nodded. I can get the stabilization units from the research module. But with the module lost in the sinkhole, we'll have to improvise. Maybe we can use parts from the temporary outposts nearby. Marin frowned. It's risky. Moving equipment close to unstable zones is dangerous. But we don't have another choice. Together, they made their way out of the chamber. The sphere remained behind, pulsing softly, as if encouraging them. Outside, the sun had risen fully, and the colony was beginning to stir. The other scientists had not yet noticed the sinkhole they assumed Marin's module was gone. They moved quickly. Astra's knowledge of atmospheric patterns guided them as they navigated the unstable ground. Every step required caution. The glowing moss glimmered under their boots, and every tremor made the ground shake like a soft drumbeat. At the temporary outposts, they found equipment scattered around. They salvaged tools, generators, and sensor modules, careful not to disturb the fragile terrain. Marin used her engineering skills to piece together a makeshift stabilization unit, a device capable of influencing the energy lines they had seen in the chamber. Astra adjusted her atmospheric scanners to interface with the device. This is it, Marin said finally, after hours of assembling the devices. If we do this correctly, we can stabilize the nearest hotspot. Astra glanced at the first unstable point, a deep crevice forming on the southern hill, pulsing with faint blue energy. We have to act fast. The next tremor could make it worse. They set up the device, and Marin activated it. The machinery hummed, lights blinking in sequence as it interfaced with the planet. Slowly, the pulsing energy lines began to smooth out. The crevice trembled, then stopped growing. It's working, Marin whispered. We actually did it. Astra smiled, but it was cautious. One down, but there are many more, and the cycles are moving faster. Suddenly, a stronger tremor shook the hill. Dust and small rocks fell from above. Marin held her ground, steadying the device, while Astra focused her scanner on the next unstable hotspot. We have to move together, Marin said, realizing the sphere's lesson. Our minds and actions must coordinate perfectly. They worked as one, moving from hotspot to hotspot, stabilizing each with careful precision. Hours passed, and the sun began to set. Their progress was slow, but measurable. Every small victory reinforced a growing realization. Humans could indeed influence the planet's energy. They were capable of understanding, adapting, and acting where other species had failed. Finally, as night fell, they stood on a ridge overlooking the main valley. The energy lines pulsed faintly, calmer than they had in weeks. Astra exhaled. "We did something today. Something no one thought humans could do." Marin nodded. "We're the first. We're the only species that could combine intuition, creativity, and action in this way. That's incredible." Above them, the crystalline structure deep underground pulsed softly, like a heartbeat in response to their success. It was alive not in the sense of a creature, but alive as a system recognizing human ingenuity. For the first time, Marin felt a deep pride not just in her work, but in humanity itself. Humans could face challenges larger than themselves. Humans could survive, adapt, and thrive where others had failed. And Zyphera 9 was only the beginning. Night had fallen over Zyphera 9, but the valley was far from quiet. The energy lines beneath the planet pulsed faintly, casting an eerie glow across the landscape. Marin and Astra had just returned from stabilizing several hotspots, their bodies exhausted, but their minds still racing. They sat on the ridge overlooking the valley, tools and sensors scattered around them. The makeshift stabilization units hummed softly, connected by cables to Astra's scanners. For the first time since the sinkhole opened, they felt a sense of hope. Humans were not helpless on this strange world. They could act. They could save the colony. "This planet, it's more alive than we imagined," Astra said, adjusting the scanner. "Every cycle, every tremor, it responds to us. But we're only scratching the surface. If we want to stabilize it completely, we'll need to think bigger." Marin nodded. "I know. But the colony leadership is going to want answers. They'll want to evacuate or shut everything down. We can't do that, they won't understand yet. If humans give up, all this knowledge, all this potential, could be lost." Astra studied the glowing energy lines on her scanner. "We need to show them that humans can handle this. That our creativity and cooperation make us capable of something no one else has done before." Marin smiled faintly. "Exactly. Humans are adaptable. We learn, we improvise, and we create solutions others cannot imagine. That's what this planet seems to be testing." The ground beneath them shivered a soft, warning tremor. Marin immediately grabbed one of the stabilization units and ran toward the nearest hotspot. Astra followed, scanner in hand. The southern hill they had stabilized earlier began to pulse again, faster this time. The crevice they had calmed now threatened to widen. Marin connected the unit to a glowing node buried in the soil. The machine hummed loudly as it interfaced with the planet's energy. Astra's eyes widened as she adjusted the scanner. "The cycles are accelerating. If we don't act fast, the next tremor could destroy the northern outposts." Marin nodded. "We can't afford mistakes. Let's do this together. Every action counts." They worked in perfect coordination. Marin adjusted the stabilization unit, while Astra monitored the energy patterns, predicting shifts before they happened. Their movements were synchronized, almost instinctive. The lessons from the crystalline sphere, the way it aligned their thoughts, were still fresh in their minds. Slowly, the energy lines began to calm. The tremor subsided, and the crevice stopped spreading. The southern hill was stable. For now. Marin wiped sweat from her brow. One down, but the valley has dozens more hotspots. If we want to save the colony, we'll need a plan for all of them. Astra looked around at the glowing landscape. "We can't do it alone. We need more people. But we can't risk sending anyone else into the unstable zones without guidance. We'll need to train them. And quickly." Marin thought for a moment. "We can use the data from the sphere to teach them. The energy patterns, the cycles, the planet's responses. Humans can understand it. If we coordinate the team, we can stabilize the entire valley." Astra nodded slowly. We'll need a schedule. Multiple teams working together, each responsible for a section of the valley. Communication will be key. And we'll need to trust each other completely. Trust. Marin smiled. That was something humans had in abundance. They had faced impossible odds throughout history, and somehow, they always found a way. The next morning, the colony leadership arrived at the sinkhole. The sight of the glowing alien structure had drawn them in, curiosity and concern battling in their expressions. Colonel Rivas, the head of the outpost, was the first to speak. Dr. Holt, Dr. Wynne, what is going on here? We detected the sinkhole, but we didn't expect this. He gestured toward the glowing chamber. Deep underground. Marin stepped forward confidently. Colonel, what you see is not just a sinkhole. It's an ancient structure, connected to the planet itself, and it's active. The planet is unstable, but we've discovered that humans can stabilize it. Rivas frowned. Stabilize it? How? This is beyond our understanding. Astra stepped up, holding her scanner. It's true. The energy patterns interact with the atmosphere and ground. We can predict cycles. And with proper coordination, humans can influence the energy lines to prevent collapses. We've already stabilized several hotspots. A murmur ran through the team. Some were skeptical, others amazed. Marin continued. The sphere inside the structure taught us how to work together, how to understand the planet's responses. If we act as a team, using our skills and creativity, we can protect the entire valley. We can prevent future collapses before they happen. Rivas studied her carefully. And you're confident humans can do this? Marin's eyes shone. I know we can. Humans are adaptable. We create solutions no other species could. This planet is a challenge, but it's also a test of our ingenuity, and we're passing it. Rivas nodded slowly. Very well. We'll support your plan, but we'll need every available team member, and we'll follow your lead. Lives depend on it. With approval from the leadership, Marin and Astra began organizing the stabilization teams. Each scientist and engineer was assigned a section of the valley. Marin instructed them on the makeshift stabilization units, while Astra taught them how to read the energy lines with their scanners. It was exhausting work, but the teams learned quickly. Humans were quick thinkers, problem solvers, and natural coordinators. Even those skeptical at first were soon amazed by how effectively they could influence the planet's energy. Hours passed, and tremors continued, testing their coordination. Each time, the teams reacted faster, learning from every shift in the ground, every pulse of energy. The valley slowly grew more stable. Marin and Astra moved between teams, monitoring progress and adjusting strategies. At one point, a minor tremor caused one of the stabilization units to overload. Sparks flew, and the surrounding ground shook violently. Move back, Marin shouted, running forward. She manually redirected the unit's energy flow, stabilizing the hotspot just in time. Astra adjusted the scanner to reinforce the energy lines remotely. Got it, Astra said, her voice steady, despite the shaking ground. That was close. But we did it. Humans did it. By the time night returned, the valley was calmer than it had been in months. The glowing energy lines pulsed gently, responding to human coordination. For the first time, the settlers could walk across the valley without fear of sudden collapse. Marin looked out over the stabilized landscape. We've shown them. Humans can rise to challenges no other species could. We can solve problems, create solutions, and act as one. Astra smiled. And this is only the beginning. We've learned how to communicate with the planet, how to work together. The future holds even greater possibilities. The crystalline sphere pulsed faintly beneath the surface, its light echoing the success above. It was not just a machine or a relic, it was a recognition of human potential. Marin realized something profound. This wasn't just about survival. This was about proving humanity's ingenuity, resilience, and adaptability. They had turned a disaster into an opportunity to demonstrate what humans could achieve when they worked together. Astra put a hand on Marin's shoulder. We've done something incredible today. Something history will remember. Humans are capable of more than we ever thought. Marin nodded. And Zyphera 9 is just the start. If humans can master this challenge, there's no limit to what we can do in the galaxy. We can explore, adapt, and thrive anywhere. Above them, the stars sparkled brightly in the night sky, reflecting in the calm valley below. For the first time, Marin felt a deep sense of pride, not just in herself, but in humanity. They had faced the unknown and prevailed. They had taken the first step toward a future where humans were not just survivors, but leaders in the galaxy. And as the valley rested in quiet harmony, Marin and Astra knew one thing for certain. This was only the beginning of humanity's greatest adventure. The valley was quiet. For the first time in weeks, the hum of the energy lines beneath Zyphera 9 had settled into a calm rhythm. Marin and Astra stood on the ridge overlooking the stabilized land. Exhausted, but triumphant. The settlers had followed their guidance. The teams had coordinated flawlessly. And for now, the planet seemed content. Yet, even in this moment of peace, Marin could feel the weight of the next challenge. The crystalline sphere below the surface had pulsed in response to their success. But it had also sent a subtle warning. A reminder that the planet was alive, unpredictable, and that cycles would continue. Humans had won a battle, but the war for balance was ongoing. Astra adjusted her scanner, reading the faint residual energy waves. The hotspots are stable, but the deeper energy lines, they're shifting. Slowly, but steadily. We've done enough for the surface, but the planet's heart is still active. Marin nodded. We've proven we can respond quickly. That's the important part. Humans adapt. Humans learn. That's our strength. We'll handle the deeper lines when the time comes. They paused, watching the first light of dawn illuminate the valley. The glow from the alien structure deep underground was barely visible now, hidden beneath layers of rock and soil, but it pulsed gently, a heartbeat, synchronized with the planet. Colonel Rivas approached, flanked by several members of the colony leadership. He had the usual stern expression, but today, there was something softer in his eyes. Respect, perhaps even awe. Dr. Holt, Dr. Wynne, he said, voice steady. I've seen what you've done. The teams are reporting unprecedented success. The valley is safe, and no lives have been lost. I'll admit, I didn't believe this was possible, but you've proven it. Marin smiled faintly. It's not just us, Colonel. The entire colony participated. Humans working together can achieve things that seem impossible. That's what the planet was testing. Onrel. Rivas nodded. Then, it seems Zyphera 9 has chosen its new stewards. And that stewards, it seems, are humans. Astra's eyes sparkled. Not just humans. Humans working as one, listening, observing, and acting together. That's what the planet responded to. Rivas studied the valley one last time before turning to leave. We'll support your research. We'll rebuild the module, expand your work, and ensure that the colony can respond to future cycles. Humanity has proven its capability here. Make sure the galaxy knows it. After the leadership departed, Marin and Astra returned to the ridge. The soft morning breeze carried the scent of glowing spores, and the valley beneath shimmered faintly with the planet's energy. Marin spoke first. You know, Astra, when you opened the door in your bathrobe that morning, I thought it was just a casual warning. But now, I realize it wasn't. You felt the shift, the energy change. You trusted your instincts. And it saved everything. Astra chuckled lightly. I didn't expect the sinkhole to swallow your module, though. That was dramatic. Marin laughed despite herself. Dramatic is one word for it. But you were right. Humans adapt. We act when others hesitate. And somehow, we figured out how to cooperate with the planet itself. The two scientists stood in silence, watching the valley pulse faintly with calm energy. Marin's thoughts drifted to the crystalline sphere and the strange voice that had guided them. It had awakened something not just in the planet, but in humanity. A recognition that humans could rise to challenges beyond comprehension. I wonder, Marin said softly, if the sphere is still aware of us, or if it's waiting for something more. Astra nodded. It probably is. It taught us to act as one. But it also showed us the potential humans have. Maybe the planet isn't done testing us yet. Marin smiled. Then we'll be ready. Humans never back down from a challenge. That's what makes us, us. They made their way back toward the partially rebuilt research module. Engineers had started salvaging parts from the surrounding outposts to reconstruct the equipment lost in the sinkhole. The valley's calm energy allowed them to work safely, and the settlers moved efficiently, guided by the lessons Marin and Astra had taught them. As they walked, Astra glanced back at the ridge. It's amazing. Look at the valley. It's alive, but it's also calm. Our work, it has meaning here. Humans didn't just survive. We shaped the outcome. Marin nodded. Humans are creative, adaptable, and resilient. We're capable of more than we give ourselves credit for. And this planet? It's a perfect stage for us to prove it. Inside the partially rebuilt module, Marin set up a small station to monitor the valley. The energy lines beneath the surface were still detectable, but they were stable. Slowly, she began recording patterns, mapping cycles, and noting responses to human intervention. Astra connected her scanners to the system, feeding data into the makeshift interface they had assembled. This is incredible, Astra said, adjusting the readouts. We can predict shifts before they happen. We can act before disaster strikes. Humans have turned observation into action on a planetary scale. Marin smiled. It's not just about survival. It's about understanding, creativity, and cooperation. Humans have the ability to change outcomes no one else could. That's what HFY is all about. They worked for hours, testing systems, running simulations, and preparing protocols for the future. Every tremor, every pulse of energy beneath the surface reinforced one truth. Humans could meet the planet on its own terms and succeed. By nightfall, the valley was fully stabilized. The settlers gathered on the ridge with Marin and Astra, watching the stars glitter in the sky. The soft blue glow of the energy lines beneath the valley mirrored the constellations above, creating a reflection of harmony between human ingenuity and planetary life. Marin turned to the crowd. Today, humans have proven something extraordinary. We faced a challenge no one believed we could manage. We used creativity, insight, and teamwork to stabilize a planet. That's not just survival. That's humanity at its best. The settlers cheered quietly, proud and inspired. No one spoke of fear anymore. They spoke of hope, capability, and the promise of what humans could achieve. Astra smiled at Marin. Do you remember that first morning, when I opened the door and told you not to go back to your module? Marin nodded. How could I forget? That was the moment everything changed. That simple warning, it led us here. It led us to realize the potential humans have. Astra laughed softly. I was half asleep. I didn't know I'd be guiding humanity's first major planetary stabilization. Marin shook her head, smiling. Sometimes, the smallest actions have the greatest impact. Humans notice, adapt, and act. That's why we succeeded. The crystalline sphere pulsed faintly beneath the surface, a silent acknowledgement of their accomplishment. The voice that had guided them did not speak again, but they could feel its presence. Calm and approving. Humans had passed the test. As they prepared to rest, Marin looked at Astra. We've done something incredible here. But I think the sphere was only the beginning. This planet, this system, it's vast. There are challenges out there waiting for humans. And somehow, I think we're ready. Astra nodded. Humans have always been explorers. We've always adapted. And now, we've proven we can face even the greatest challenges. Zyphera 9 is only the start. Marin smiled at the glowing valley. Then let's make sure we're ready for whatever comes next. Humans will not only survive, humans will thrive. And as dawn broke over the valley, the two scientists stood together, watching the soft light reflect off the stabilized landscape. The energy lines pulsed gently, calm and harmonious, a testament to human ingenuity and cooperation. For the first time, Zyphera 9 felt like home, not just a strange alien world, but a place where humanity had proven itself, where humans had risen to a challenge larger than themselves, and where the potential of their species was clear for all to see. And somewhere deep beneath the surface, the crystalline sphere pulsed in quiet acknowledgement. Humans had passed the test. Humans were capable. Humans were ready for the next frontier. The door to tomorrow had opened, and humanity was ready to step through.